So we're here at the Ayurvedic Medical Centre with George, Jacob, Sarah and Maria. I originally came over to South India for Panchakarma treatment for myself, and we've been very fortunate to be invited here to find out some stories from other people who have experienced Ayurvedic treatments. So George, how long have you actually been in India?
Well, this is about my 5th time in India. I came here many years ago, not associated with anything to do with knowledge or health or anything, just as a tourist.
Yeah.
But the second time I came, I had an incident whereby I was working in Newcastle, and I tore the cartilage in my right knee. And then I had a job to do in South Africa and then go on to New York. At the time I got to New York, my right knee had swollen up like a football.
Right.
So I was told that the only way I could get some kind of relief was to take out the cartilage because it had ripped so severely.
I see, yeah.
I told this to one of my friends and he said, nonsense. We go to Kerala and regrow the cartilage. I told this to the doctors in New York and in England, and they scoffed and laughed. However, I, being very tenacious, I decided to give it a try. The next thing I know, I'm in Kerala, and I visited Dr. Bose, who at that time was over across the road. And for 14 days, they did kiri, massages and other treatments on me. 11 years later, my knee is still intact. It's perfect, it's strong. Wow. And I expect it to carry me another 2,000 years again. So that was my first encounter with Ayurveda. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Well, I know back in the UK, one of the saunas I visit regular, there are many gentlemen. They're walking around with problems with the knees after surgery. They're having major problems. One guy, I recall, he's having 4 or 5 operations on the knee. He keeps having the problems and going back. So it's a credit to Ayurveda to know that there is potential out there not to even need the first surgery.
Absolutely.
This morning when I was doing my meditation, what came to me was, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. And it seems to me that all the king's horses and all the king's men, the NHS,
yes,
which is a good institution,
yeah,
noble enterprise.
Sure.
But it's all driven by a system of profit for pharmaceutical companies.
Yes.
It's not driven by health.
The customer focus is not so much there.
That's right. But I mean, I love the health service.
Yeah.
National Health Services is a good institution. So I don't want to be damning it.
Sure.
But I'm just saying that there are alternative ways of actually looking at health.
Sure.
Prevention and also curing and healing.
Yes.
As opposed to just maintaining, subsistence, reliance upon pharmaceutical drugs that only, perpetuate other drug dependencies.
Yes. Yeah. So particularly for people which are interested in traveling, perhaps yoga, Ayurveda, then you would recommend maybe a visit to have a consultation with an Ayurvedic doctor to have a look at the opportunities of alternative methods.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our trip here this time, we have other challenges, and we've been here about 2 weeks already, but already the diagnosis of the doctor was excellent. It was better than what we thought we'd get in. We actually had different diagnoses in the UK. Dr. Bose's, assessment.
Yes.
And it's just gone so well.
Yeah.
And we're both having treatment. I'm having panchakarma and I feel absolutely fabulous.
Wow, and this is after 2 weeks. Yes.
I feel fabulous, and I think it's not only for those who are ill, but those who need rejuvenation.
Rejuvenation, yes.
It's a fantastic, the panchakarma is just a fantastic way of renewing oneself.
Sure.
You know, like they say, we have 6 days of work and 1 day of rest. We need some time just to rejuvenate ourselves in the hectic life we live in the West.
Absolutely.
And so this sort of treatment is actually greatly needed to most people, especially if you do practice yoga or even if you don't.
Yeah.
It's so good
Sure.
for the individual to renew.
Absolutely. And so you found this medical centre, and there are many Ayurvedic medical centres across South India. How would you recommend that a person finds the right doctor for them?
You know, there's some resorts that deal with tourism and just give you massages. This Ayurvedic Centre here, Agasthya Ayurvedic Centre, is not one of those resorts. This is a healing centre where people come sick, they come with broken spirit, broken bodies, and they walk out straight. They come in the ambulance and they walk out straight. You know, this is about healing and not just what I'd call massage tourism.
Sure.
But you can
agree with you. When I walked into the campus here, I could smell the aroma of the medicine. And yesterday I was in a laboratory with an Ayurvedic doctor, and he was saying that none of the workers become ill. And I felt strong initially when I walked onto the campus here. The aroma from the herbs is automatically making you feel rejuvenated without the treatment. And the thing that I particularly am infused. So the thing I'm particularly enthused about the Ayurvedic way of treating the body and the mind is the fact that they're not treating the individual conditions. In the West we have a way of labelling these many different conditions and prescribing a particular drug for this particular symptom. And I find the way that the Ayurvedic doctors are treating the whole person individually, the whole aim is just to bring the body back into balance, as opposed to finding a particular ailment and finding a solution. The body and the mind is then healing itself through the medicine.
Yeah, that's good.
And this approach is very uncommon in the West. But once you've had this kind of treatment, I found personally that the body is making an adjustment and the mind is making an adjustment that it never forgets. Maybe after a long period of time, I'm sure George you will agree, the lifestyle is becoming busy and some of these memories in the cells maybe in the mind get forgot. And so after a period of time, I found personally after 5 years to come back and re-engage with the nature, re-engage with the medicine, and have the sincerity of the doctor almost is making the body and the cells feel alive again.
You know, Glenn, the thing about Ayurveda is it's not a yesterday thing. 5,000 years of tradition. You know, documented, orally, passed down, then notated, and so it's not guesswork.
Sure.
It's scientific, but not through the Western way of looking at things. You know, I'm not eschewing or discarding Western medicine. I'm not saying that it's of no use and no good. But what I'm saying is that the way we capitalistically look at using health as a profit design institution, it's counterproductive to actually getting the best for the individual.
Sure.
Because when you look at your profit and loss margins concerning health and making pills, what are these pills? Then they have to counteract, and not only pills and pharmaceuticals, but also the health industry, the nutrition.
Yes.
Nutrition is very important as well.
Yes.
The food industry.
Yeah.
What they put in the foods. You know. And stress elements. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's profitable to become sick.
In the West.
Yes, in the West.
It's not profitable to become healthy.
Of course.
And this is an opposite way of looking at it. You're promoting health by the foods you're eating while you're here, and it's sort of this center here. There's so much love going on. Even from everybody in the center, all the workers have such love.
Yeah.
And that is transmitted in the way they serve you.
Sure.
And the food you're having is made with such love. You're taking that food.
Yes.
And so that love, your body is responding to it. And that is radiating out of you. So you're radiating health. And you take that with you. So you want to come back.
Yes.
Even if you're not ill, you want to renew. So I think this is the benefit of having centers like this.
Yes.
Because you come back not only because you're ill, but because you want to renew.
Renew, yes. Yeah.
You want to also meet up those people, even if not, then there may be other people, but you want to meet up and get that renewal.
And then you have the idea that you want to prevent stuff happening as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Preemptive strikes.
Yes. Well, I don't have personally medical insurance, and many people in the UK, they don't have medical insurance because they hang their hopes on the NHS. And then recently with the changes in the government, I'm noticing they're suggesting they don't need so many hospital beds because the ambulances are able to drive around the town with the patient inside being treated until the bed is available. So constantly the NHS is being stretched, and it's all over the news. And so my philosophy is, instead of having some kind of healthcare program, that what I will do for my own healthcare program is to build a small place here and come here once a year, once every other year, and have in my mind, a tune-up. You know, look after my health, then go back to exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, it's important that people take their health into their own hands and feel that they are responsible. Doctors cannot heal you.
Yes.
Medication cannot heal you. It's your immune system that is assisted by treatments and remedies. But if you deliver yourself into the hands of a person because they have PhD behind their names, you're going to be in serious trouble.
Yes.
Have you been to hospitals in England?
I've been very fortunate not to have to spend time in hospital.
They're very dark areas. Very dark. Everybody's depressed in there.
Yeah.
Everybody's. There's no life happening. Here, everybody. I've noticed that when people are coming downstairs and saying goodbye, you get to meet people's children, you get to meet the families.
Yes.
It's a very pleasant. You've experienced it.
I have experienced it here. Yeah. I did panchakarma treatment 5 years ago. I had a chronic fatigue condition, so I say I was blessed with illness. At such a young age, because I experienced the feeling of being 70 years old at 40 years old, and this was very, very scary for me. I was housebound, and my friends were only very few friends, very little support. and I made the brave journey over to India and spent time in a very good Ayurvedic hospital, and the doctors were excellent. And on my return, it took 3 years, but over this 3-year period I could feel the strength continuously building, and I strongly believe it was as a result of the treatment. I was advised with diet changes, and I was already teaching yoga at the time, so I had knowledge of the philosophy of Ayurveda, so it was very easy for me to apply. But from a fatigue condition perspective, it takes a long time, and some people don't recover from chronic fatigue disorders. The cellular function is exhausted. It's very difficult to repair.
Is that something to do with the nervous system?
Yes, yeah. So being in amongst nature with the medicines working on the body in their own way, and a combination of yoga and meditation, I think I created a very strong message to the body, a healing message. Then all I had to do was keep repeating this message when I came back home. Yes. But so one of the questions I think many people will have from overseas is this idea of travelling such a long distance to get healthcare. And I spoke to a doctor yesterday who said, very similar to what you said about the health resorts, they're taking in patients and very quickly giving them treatment, giving them massage. It's more of a holiday package. And I think there's a very, very solid difference between health tourism and visiting a proper doctor who's qualified to heal. And what the doctor said to me was that arriving in the country and changing the diet probably required in your experience, how did you actually find the whole journey and then arriving in a new country and then taking the treatment? Because obviously people coming over to a new country, they've never visited here before, so it can be a little bit alarming to start off with.
Well, I'm particularly adventurous. I'm a reckless adventurer. And the thing is that I'm interested in Vedic culture anyway.
I see.
Or we rather are interested in Vedic culture. We study Vedas and Upanishads and Ramayana and Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. We're interested in these things from a natural point of view.
Yeah.
Sarah is a yoga master. She's been my teacher for 33 years as a yoga teacher.
Oh, lovely. What a lovely connection.
And so the thing is that, as I said, the first time I came to India, I was not interested in these matters. I came as a tourist. But subsequently, I'm a seeker for knowledge and wisdom and exploring the other side of things.
And I think when you travel somewhere, one should be prepared to try different things. If you want to travel and you want to eat exactly what you have back home, then you haven't really traveled.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the experience is getting used to the local foods and actually enjoying them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would suggest anybody wanting to come should actually try experiencing the difference.
Yeah.
Sarah, I think you're a bit on dangerous ground there. Because, Glenn is from Yorkshire. When you go to Yorkshire, you'd have to eat Yorkshire pudding.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to eat Yorkshire pudding, I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, fish and chips. Apparently some of the...
And we have the best fish and chips.
That's what I heard. My Yorkshire friend who comes... Middlesbrough is in Yorkshire?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a very, very good friend, very old friend from Yorkshire. He says that they put the oil in lard to do the fish and chips, and that's why it tastes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I'm not sure how healthy it is, but it's a nice treat once every couple of months. So one of the things which I thought was really important for guests overseas to understand, which I learned from my own perspective, was the fact that even though we are visiting a new country with a different culture and different foods, that if the hospital provides a good service connected with some kind of tour operator, a middle person, particularly if the health condition is very challenging, that it's very important that they pick up from the airport, the drive to the hospital. We know that they're going to be taken care of when they arrive here, but sometimes the transition can be quite stressful, and so if someone's only having a very small visit, I think it's very important that the connection, particularly if they're really struggling with their health, that the connection to the hospital and from the hospital is a very smooth one. Otherwise, India, for somebody brand new, can be very stressful initially because of the difference in the culture. So I think I wanted to really make a point that to make sure that it's important that they have perhaps a middle person who can understand the facility, understand the facility, make a connection with the doctor. Some of the doctors that we're working with are making Skype conversations in advance with the patient. Right. So they're doing the consultation over Skype, understanding the patient's needs, then giving a full proper diagnosis when the patient arrives. But they already have a history of the client's condition, the client's family history, and then they're able to, I think, take more pressure off of the patient when they first arrive. So I think it's really important that people from overseas are not just booking an Ayurvedic holiday and then arriving at the airport and having to find a taxi, take a taxi, particularly if they've got serious health issues. Yeah. You would agree with that, yeah?
Very much so,
Yes.
very much so. Because you know, one of the things about Ayurveda is that you're not treating general, you're not giving general treatment, you're giving individual and specific treatment to people. And one of the things about Ayurveda is to make the person feel comfortable so they can accommodate the treatment and absorb the treatment better.
Sure.
By being in a not non-stressful situation.
Yes.
So you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Even 5 years on, I'm having someone collecting me from the airport and taking me to the homestay, and still it's that initial shock of being in a different culture, I think, is always going to happen. So if we can make this as smooth as possible for the guests, I think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we've covered some really interesting subjects there, and I think it will be an insight for people overseas that are thinking of coming over to this country. And do you think there's anything else that we need to add, or?
Come to India. Enjoy the sun, enjoy the difference, enjoy the food, enjoy the people, enjoy the sounds. India is a very loud country. Everything is loud here. That's why people learn to meditate in India. You learn to go inside and to find the quietness within inside yourself. And that is the most powerful, blissful state that we have. And if we can reach that blissful state, you know, then
we've come home.
We've come home.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That was very well put. Good. Thank you so much.